Welcome everyone to our discussion on transforming your meditation practice, especially if you have a busy mind. Today, we're diving into this innovative approach, mindful resonance, that redefines how we relate to our thoughts during meditation.
I'm really excited about this perspective. It really challenges the old notion that to meditate properly, you must have an absolutely empty mind.
Exactly, and that myth that you have to achieve a completely blank mind sets an impossible standard for many. It's like trying to hold back a tidal wave by just wishing for calm waters.
Right? And it makes you feel like if you aren't totally silent in your mind, you're failing.
Yes, absolutely. And that's where mindful resonance steps in. Instead of fighting against the natural flood of 60,000 to 80,000 daily thoughts our brains generate, it embraces them. It encourages us to recognize these thoughts as just natural activity rather than a sign of doing meditation wrong.
So would you say that this approach shifts the focus from trying to eliminate thoughts to working with them?
Precisely. Instead of forcing an empty mind, we learn to notice, acknowledge, and then anchor our focus, like focusing on our breath or even physical sensations.
Yep.
This way, we create space and stop the inner struggle.
That makes a lot of sense and is so much more forgiving. But how does one actually practice this? What are the steps involved?
The practice is distilled into a simple 3-step process. First, notice. You simply become aware of your thoughts without trying to change them. Then acknowledge those thoughts by briefly labeling them as planning, worrying, or remembering. Finally, anchor yourself back to a focus point, whether it's the breath, body sensations, or even ambient sounds.
I love that breakdown. It takes the pressure off trying to forcefully clear your mind. Isn't it ironic, though? We're used to thinking that meditation is about silencing the mind, but here it's about creating a harmonious relationship with it.
Exactly. It's like, the thoughts are just waves on the surface of an ocean, and we're not even trying to stop them. We just observe the waves while appreciating the calm depths below, the clear, spacious awareness that's always there.
That analogy really paints a picture. I mean, isn't it interesting how meditation has often been shown in popular culture as this monk-like state of utter blankness, while in reality, even experienced meditators encounter thoughts?
Absolutely. The expectation of mental quiet is more mythical than practical. In reality, even the most skilled practitioners have thoughts. They're just different in how they relate to them. It's about understanding that every thought is temporary, much like weather passing through an expansive sky.
Speaking of weather, I recall the thoughts as weather perspective being a core part of this approach. What does that entail exactly?
Essentially, you're encouraged to view your thoughts as transient phenomena, like clouds or rain in the vast sky of your mind. Instead of trying to control or eliminate them, you simply observe them as you would watch a beautiful, ever-changing weather pattern.
Yep, I really like that. It takes the personal sting out of, say, a rain of worries or a storm of concerns.
Exactly. And it's about shifting from the mindset of resistance to one of acceptance. When you stop battling with your thoughts, an interesting thing happens. They naturally begin to settle. It's like quicksand, where the more you struggle, the deeper you sink, but if you relax, you start to float.
But, isn't there a risk that by just accepting all thoughts, you might reinforce negative thinking patterns? I mean, wouldn't it be better sometimes to challenge harmful thoughts rather than just note them?
That's a valid challenge, and it's important to address. The key is that acceptance here isn't passivity. It's about recognition without judgment. While you do acknowledge negative patterns, you also see them as just part of your mental activity, not as defining traits.
I see your point. It's a balance between self-compassion and mindful awareness that can actually free you from the cycle of overthinking.
Exactly. And along with the core practice of notice, acknowledge, and anchor, there's also the idea of developing what's called the observing self, that calm center which simply watches the mind in action. It's a secret
Right.
superpower everyone already has but often forgets.
That sounds almost like a skill that can be strengthened over time with practice.
Absolutely. And the approach even suggests a 10-day experiment to help you get started. It's structured yet flexible. For example, in the first 2 days, you simply practice 5 minutes of observation, then experiment with different anchors in the next few days. And by days 9-10, you expand your awareness to include both the anchor and the thoughts.
I appreciate that structure. It's not overwhelming. It really focuses on consistency over duration, which is key for busy minds.
Exactly, and it's especially useful for overthinkers not just during meditation sessions, but throughout daily life. For instance, applying these principles when you're stressed before a presentation or when insomnia hits because of a racing mind.
Yes. So it's more than a meditation technique. It's a thoughtful approach to managing everyday mental chaos.
Precisely. It creates a thoughtful lifestyle where you channel your natural mental activity into a more mindful and balanced experience. The idea is not to stop thinking, but to change your relationship with those thoughts.
Right. That resonates with me, pun intended. And I love the physical anchors you mentioned, like breath awareness or focusing on body sensations. They really provide immediate reality when, say, your mind starts spiraling.
Yes, it's like having a steady friend in the midst of mental turbulence. Focusing on the breath, the sensation of your hands, or even sounds in your environment can help ground your awareness.
Absolutely. But then, how do you measure success in this practice? Traditional methods like long periods of perfect silence just don't seem to apply anymore.
Great point. Success isn't about silencing every thought. It's about noticing how quickly you can recognize when your mind wanders and then gently return to your anchor. Rather than counting moments of perfect focus, you're measuring compassion, awareness, and consistency.
Yes, that reframing of success makes the practice feel attainable and forgiving, qualities that are essential for maintaining this kind of mental balance.
Exactly. And aside from the daily practice, there's also a broader invitation to design a lifestyle that supports this gentle, embracing approach to your thoughts. It's about creating space for diverse mental activities, structured focus, creative flow, and ample relaxation.
I guess that can really help avoid burnout, because you're not forcing one mode of thinking all the time. Instead, you're letting your natural patterns take their course with a bit of guidance.
Yes, exactly. It's like recognizing that your busy mind is actually a sign of a healthy brain, not a defect. It's evolved to plan, solve problems, and even protect you in uncertain times. Instead of suppressing it, you learn to work with it, sort of like tuning into a radio station that plays both upbeat and mellow tunes without skipping a beat.
And that brings us to some of the practical challenges, like dealing with the planning mind or the critic mind during meditation. I find that sometimes, even with these techniques, it's hard to let go of self-judgment.
Absolutely, and that's where self-compassion comes in. When you notice inner criticism, like "I'm terrible at meditating," you simply label it and gently remind yourself that it's just one of many thought patterns. Over time, this approach helps you cultivate a much kinder relationship with yourself.
Yep. It's really refreshing to see an approach that transforms meditation from a battlefield into a harmonious dance with one's own mind.
Yes, indeed. If you remember, the core of mindful resonance is to shift from resistance to acceptance. With consistent, even brief daily practices, you can begin to appreciate your busy mind for what it is, a natural part of your human experience, filled with both action and the potential for stillness.
Absolutely. And that's a wonderful takeaway. Embrace your mind, honor its natural pace, and gradually discover that inner spaciousness. Thanks for this enlightening discussion.
Thank you for joining in. May your meditation journey be as expansive and calming as the sky above, and may every thought guide you to deeper understanding.